Bolt-On Technologies, automotive software solutions. Auto repair shops that have Bolt-On Technology software provide customer vehicle condition reports, including photos and text, real-time digital reports, multi-point inspections, estimates, and repair information at your fingertips. Info at boltontechnology.com.
Live from the John's Refrigeration Media Center at the East Valley Institute of Technology, this is 88.7 The Pulse, KPNG, Chandler, Phoenix, and KVIT, Apache Junction, Goldfield, Ghost Town, Arizona. This is Wrench Nation. Car talk, car culture, car tips, car music, all that is car. Wrench Nation Car Talk. Call or text your questions now. 480-655-8870 with your hosts, Frank and Steve.
We're back for another edition of Wrench Nation. Did I see on the notes show number 96?
96. We're old people, man. We're old.
Wow.
Old. This is an old show right here.
We've been doing this since before time.
Yeah, and, gosh, 96, that's a big number.
Yeah, we're almost to 100.
I'm saying we got to have a celebration at 100.
At
Steve.
100, a big celebration.
Maybe we do something. We'll, go up to Alaska or something.
Yeah, let's go to Alaska.
Let's
go look for gold. I watch Gold Rush every week on A&E and Discovery.
All right.
And so I want to go up and look for gold in Alaska. Let's do that in honor of the 100th show.
I'm saying, but I don't think there's any gold. Welcome back, you mechanical maniacs. Frank, Steve,
Fool's
and
gold
Mr.
is all
Wally
good. Fool's
joining
gold.
with you, your car care little corner where you guys get to relax and the real radio and your real car care questions. And by the way, thank you guys. You guys actually, we had a few quizzes over the past few shows. And I think it went well because you guys sounded like you answered true blue. You weren't like Google Wikipedia.
Sure.
And we appreciate that honesty. And you guys rock. So welcome back. And if you're catching this on the podcast replay, we upload that every Sunday. We appreciate you guys. Show number 6. I'm excited. This show is all to do. The dedication, the need, the speed, and the spirit. Wait a minute. That didn't sound right.
That's my NHRA drag racing sound effect.
Wally, that didn't sound like a burnout.
It sounded like he went a little south about at 300 feet.
Dude, that sounded like a Volkswagen
Okay,
Beetle
hold on,
taking
hold on.
off. Wait, we got to redo that.
Squeal tires.
All right, we're setting up the show, baby. This is the NHRA edition, but we need the proper background.
I don't know if I was going to get this. Let's
All
see.
right. Well, let's try it.
Oh, here we go.
Here we
Here's
go.
something.
All right. Are you ready?
Oh, we're probably going to have to watch.
No, that didn't work.
That's like stepping on the brakes, isn't it?
All right. Well, our sincere apologies to all you NHRA
Well,
officials.
we had the engines revving there.
That's
Frank.
okay. We'll find it. But bigger than that, people, man, you guys turn up the knobby knob because we have a show for you. You know how we do here at Wrench Nation. We've got some special guests that'll be calling in here in a little while, and we've got some driver interviews straight from the track. Now, you guys know we've got the races this weekend. The Big Daddy races. Wally, every year you wait for these races, and your coffee starts shaking, and your kneecaps almost fall off. Tell the people what's coming to town.
Just about 11,000 horsepower, strapped down tight, turning 1,000 feet at about 3.5 seconds, and
Holy
about 330 miles an hour.
Oh, my goodness.
On a regular basis, I might say.
That sounds like the first date with my wife. It was real brief. So you guys know we are dedicating this show officially, as we'll read it to you without any drum roll or affair. Everything you wanted to know about those top fuel and funny cars. This is your special edition. We're going to dive in, talk about the science behind the madness. It's actually, it's more than just madness. We certainly don't want to bring it down that simple. There's a lot going on with these funny cars. And Wally, you've been around that scene respectfully for so many years. You've seen some changes in the NHRA world of funny cars and top fuel.
I have a picture.
Uh-oh.
I have a picture.
Oh, goodness.
When I was 12 years old.
All right.
At the drag strip with Bill Grumpy Jenkins that raced Pro Stock.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you're really old, you'd remember him. But that's how long I've been a gearhead. That's how long I've been into drag racing. worked actively about 20 years ago, traveled on the road with him for 3 years with Jim Epler, the first 300-mile-an-hour funny car guy. Got to know a lot of these guys personally. They're still friends. They're still out there having fun. That's what makes the whole thing go.
Well, that's the community.
Right
And that's
there.
what makes it special in True Blue. You guys know, big fans of NHRA. We know you listening. You guys know that. And so this show is dedicated to that. We've got some surprise guests for you. We're going to tease that out. But I got to tell you, Steve, back in the garage this week, we had a situation. You know, here on the show, we don't have a crystal ball to all your car care conundrums. We're going to be True Blue about it.
Right.
But I will sound like a broken record purposely.
Don't you have like the mechanic ESP so that when you come in, you literally can read the car's mind and say, "Oh, I know what's wrong. I'll just look at it."
I'm trying to trademark vehicular whisperer.
Right. I mean, people expect that exactly. You're the vehicular whisperer. But people expect that from you, don't they? Like, I'm going to tell you what it's doing, so what's wrong? Well, I got to look at it. Well, why don't you just know?
No, man. And it's, I think, seasoned wrenches, this is the problem. And I think, Wally, you probably go through the same thing. You're at a traffic stop, and we're sensitive. Like, we hear things under hood and smell things under hood to the car, three cars behind us. And we're like, honey, did you just smell that? That's a coolant leak. And she's like, what are you talking about? I can't see or smell anything. But what I'm saying, back to this point, and please, people, you guys have been hanging with us for a long time. If there's anything I can tell you as a priority, especially my first-time drivers, please. We had an incident in the garage this week, and I'll just tell you straight up, I was pissed off to the point, and I'm going to say something here. Jessica, one of our advisors, she's a rock star. We had a car come in, and it was a post-purchase inspection. Right? Means you bought the house, but you didn't inspect it. You need to do a pre-purchase on a vehicle. You need to do a pre-purchase on a house, people. This kid brought this car in, and this car was a driving nightmare of a hazard. Wally, the fuel pump was boogered up. It had wiring. It looked like somebody grabbed wiring out of like an antique lamp, wired up the fuel pump, popped it back in, ground wires exposed. It was just horrible. Well, I got to tell you what. My point is, please, people, get a pre-purchase, and I got to give a shout-out not only to Jessica from our garage there, Desert Car Care. She and many of you other mechanics out there that have actually taken this extra step. Guess what Jessica did? She went down to the place, respectfully, where they sold that used car and said, hey, what is going on? You sold this car. I realize it's used. But you got a bad NASA project happening back in this back trunk area where the fuel tank is at.
Right.
And they said, you know what? We'll take care of it. That is a win.
Wow.
That is a win.
Yeah, good for them.
So my point is, people, don't go that far. In fact, mechanics will want to protect you at every level, but man, give us a fighting chance. So if you buy something, tax season's happening. You know, we've got the new car review coming later, and maybe some of you guys, hey, Frank, I ain't worried about it. I'm buying a new car. But if you're buying a low-mileage car, get it checked out. Take it to a certified professional, all right? And no disrespect to Uncle Louie. Uncle Louie may know about cars, but he may have missed a few
Uncle
things.
Louie might be a little outdated if he's not been working in the business
I like
recently.
Uncle Louie. Things
Things have changed, though.
Yeah, things have changed.
Things
so please,
have changed.
Yeah.
Time for some news.
Well, all right, we got your ever weekly, so important. In fact, stop what you're doing right now, because you guys think autonomous vehicles are safe, don't you? You can't wait till you get in one and you could just like shower.
You know I hate them. I think you're obsessed with the damn thing.
Well, we have to talk about this.
Yeah?
Well, yeah.
What happened?
Well, a Waymo autonomous
they're
vehicle.
in my neighborhood all the time in Chandler.
You guys listening on the podcast, or perhaps you're chiming in from Listen Live link on the live link at you in New York, Washington.
So we should partner with Waymo. They should only play us all the time.
I tried. They don't want to mess with us. Right here in Chandler, guys, if you're listening from, outside the Chandler, East Valley area of Phoenix, we are considered like the capital right now of autonomous vehicles.
Yeah.
It's happening. We see them
Because of the weather, the good weather, the road conditions most of the time.
And we're taking pictures, and we're like, oh, look at that. But for the first time, I think, in recorded history, an autonomous vehicle ran a red light.
Uh-oh.
That's
Did it
right.
hit anybody?
Well, they didn't. You
That's
guys
good.
can find this on YouTube. It's all over YouTube. But, I don't know why the individual that recorded this was just randomly recording. It was late at night. They were at a traffic stop, and they were just recording a traffic light. I don't know if this was set up by the arch rival of Waymo. Maybe. They're mudslinging just like they do. Brands can compete quietly. But it looks legit. Here's the Waymo. It's at it, and this car that's recording is the light changes. They have the green, and they get ready, and they're in and they're like, "Oh, wait, did they just run that?" And they recorded that. So I have a question for you, people listening. I need your participation. You can text in right now, 480-655-8870. That's what we're talking about. Do you think, was it the computer or was it the driver? Because there is on these Waymos, so there is a driver. They have to. In fact, it's law. I know that Congress is working on making that widespread and making that, hey, if we're going to autonomous, you got to have somebody in the warm-bodied seat behind the wheel. That's not happening anytime soon. So the question again, do you think it was the computer that was at fault running that red light on that autonomous, or was the driver asleep at the wheel on this technology?
Then you have to try to, if you're actually trying to guess that, you have to try to guess of whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans' fault, and there's no answer to that.
Oh, my goodness.
There's no answer to that, so how could there be an answer to computer or person? I'm going to say it was more likely the person.
I'm saying, I'm not going to tell you what I said. I want to hear what you have to say.
All right, text at 480-655-8870. Who do you think might be more at fault?
The computer or the driver? Autonomous car running a red light. What do you guys think? Give us
Every
a call.
engineer I've ever met always will say, operator error, sorry.
That's right. You guys stay tuned. We got everything you need to know about nitro cars, funny cars, and some privileged guests calling in. You guys hang in there.
Wrench Nation continues next on 88.7 The Pulse. Don't go anywhere.
This is Wrench Nation with your hosts, Frank and Steve.
Yes, we are back. 480-655-8870. 70. I don't know how to say oh today.
Why, you big Brit?
Tony D from New York. I was trying to get him my New York accent. He says it's going to be the computer whose fault it is for the Waymo running the red light, Frank.
Well, I'm just saying, those New Yorkers, they're pretty smart and intelligent people.
No, it's not my fault.
I'm not going to let you know what I think. Wally, I'm going to ask you that Waymo Autonomous ran through it before we dive into NHRA topic and get our boy JB on, the wiser advisor. Who do you think was at fault? Was it the driver or the computer, this autonomous vehicle running a red light?
I'm guessing the driver. I'm thinking somebody just was cheating,
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
Because I saw the video, they're taking a left.
Yeah.
So it's not like
Yeah.
asleep at the wheel kind of thing.
Well, we'll see. We want your answers. But shout-outs, man. You know what? We're just dedicating shout-outs completely to all. I had a little scratch action because that sounded horrible. All you guys, man, hanging with us on Facebook. We want to just thank you for that. We try to do our best to give you guys some good content, some real content. So thank you very much. If you're new to our Wrench Nation Facebook, participate. Your comments are huge. Your interaction. It's your show. So thank you very much. That's your shout-outs for this week.
Here's another text, by the way. Both the driver and CPU could be at fault. The CPU failed to recognize the red light, and the driver, who still has control of the braking in emergency situations, obviously failed to do so.
I like that. But the question is is the human driver the fail-safe, or is it the computer fail-safe? That'd be interesting. Maybe we'll do a show topic on that. Hey, this week we're talking about NHRA, people, all that goodness behind what is just a monstrosity. You guys have possibly seen that on TV and maybe not have been to a track race. I invite you this weekend, formerly was known as Firebird Raceway. We don't want to say that, of course, but some
Wild
of you,
Horse Pass.
I know it's Wild Horse, but a lot of listeners still call it Firebird.
I still call it Firebird. It'll always be Firebird to me.
And I'm just saying, my point is, you need to get out there and do yourself a favor. Take a few neighbors that have been getting on your nerves.
Then I'm going to go to Compton Terrace and see a show.
Take your neighbors that maybe they painted the wall the wrong way and it affected your view or something, and say, hey, you know what? Let's go to the races. Shake them up. They'll be a changed individual. Put a smile, a little bit of Top Fuel smile action. Under throttle, these dragsters can consume 11.2 gallons of nitromethane per second.
Yes.
People realize a 747 is consuming jet fuel about the same rate with 25% less energy. Wally, that's huge, man. That's a lot of power.
Yes. Now imagine strapped in between the rails, tiny rails of chromoly tubing being propelled at about 330 miles an hour headlong down the track, hoping the brakes and the parachute are going to work on the other end.
So what you're saying is you take a go-kart. I mean, literally.
Put a Jado bottle on it.
Like, you guys have seen this on TV, and it's exciting even to watch it on TV. But if you don't get down to the track, you don't really see. And the nice thing I really admire about NHRA, it's an approachable sport, man. You know, I love NASCAR. NASCAR's cool. But, you know, it's like, oh, I got to have a ticket, extra this, that. You know, NHRA, man, you're down there. You're down there with Force. You're down there with Kalitta.
Every ticket's a pit pass at NHRA. And
yeah.
you can reach out and touch these guys. You can smell the nitro. If you've ever been in a riot, it smells just like tear gas.
And then, what do we call those individuals? I've been known to be an individual like that, and they're called, what do you call them? Rope rats?
Nitro heads.
Nitro heads. But seriously, you got to go and check it out. I'm not trying to plug the race, more so that I'm trying to plug, maybe get it off your bucket list, people. And that's something you're going to be addicted to. So let's talk about the frame and the structure. Over the years, Wally, other than probably making these things a little more lightweight, right, has anything changed in the design,
safety-wise?
Structure? Well,
safety.
Yeah.
In fact, we saw it last weekend, or 2 weekends ago in Pomona, the opening race out of California. Brittany Forrest, last year's Top Fuel champion, got away from her. She got into the wall. First thing that happens, the whole front end of that dragster folds back. But that's by design. It's absorbing. It's your crush zone. It's the same thing. The actual pilot or the driver is encompassed basically in a cocoon, a carbon fiber cocoon with tremendous amount of padding inside, only because over the years we've learned G-forces, impact, things like that. So it's really gotten to the point, I mean, believe me, it's not safe by any means, but it's as safe as it's going to get when you're sitting inside some 4130 chrome moly tubing going 320 miles an hour.
She was going down. I saw the video on that. And thank goodness, I forget the gentleman that was racing her, but he had some grip issues as well.
Right, so he wasn't there for her to come over in the lane. Otherwise, It would have been two of them.
So if you guys can just imagine, it was about half track, maybe just before half track. She just, gosh, it almost looked like she was going to, flip it quite a few times. She just kind of flipped it over. And she actually, thankfully, made out with, I think she had some bruised ribs. And,
bruised lung, a few other things. I mean, fairly certain, haven't got a confirmation yet, but I'm fairly certain she'll be racing this weekend with no problem.
Yeah, we hope so. And speaking of which, you guys know that, traditionally it's a quarter-mile track, but because of safety, people, they reduced it. They gave folks a longer stretch. It's 1,000 foot.
Right.
And one of the reasons why is just
went from 1,320 feet to 1,000 feet even.
Yeah. Talk about that. What's happening in these rails when they stop? How are they? Let's get back to basics with a Top Fuel Funny Car. We've all seen the parachutes.
Right.
How's that design evolved over the years with that parachute? Because that's a big deal.
Well, they've gone from a single parachute to dual parachutes. So depending on how quick you want to stop, you can either pop one chute or two chutes. And the brakes, where it used to be, basically brake shoes back in the old days, now they got carbon fiber rotors on there that will stop a 747. So now it comes down, it's not so much the brake apparatus itself, it's can you get your rubber to stick to the floor and get you stopped? Because what happens is it goes into a little bit of a bounce, and once it starts to bounce, you got to get off the brakes, to flatten it out and then reapply again, kind of like ABS.
Definitely, that will make the difference. And so you guys know, stick with us because we've actually we've got some live interviews, and we also have some taped interviews. Won't mention the drivers at this point.
Well, we're just a couple minutes out, man.
Well,
and he did win in Pomona.
I know, but let's just say it. Who do we got calling in here in a little bit?
Hey, Doug Kalitta.
Whoa, snap. That's a clappy clap. Let's get some claps. Doug is going to be calling in, you guys, you race fans. We're going to talk with Doug Kalitta. But you mentioned something, this whole process of stickiness, and we're going to get to some interviews later on the show, some taped interviews. We were out at Test and Tune.
Yes.
That burnout, there's some strategy there.
Oh, yes.
It ain't just happened to make us fans happy.
No, but it sure is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, no doubt. We're going to get to that strategy as we go. It is incredible, the kind of horsepower that's put together. And if you don't know, gosh, between race events, what are they doing in the pit? They're tearing that puppy down.
All the way down.
All the way. We're not talking about, let's change one tire.
No.
Man.
Down to the bare block.
Yeah.
Down to the bare block. Any main bearings, you got a guy, jumping in the bottom. You got a guy pulling the heads off. You actually got two guys pulling the heads off. You got a left head and a right head guy. You got a blower guy. They go completely down to the bare block.
Yeah,
all in 75 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have more tips and some facts for you. If you'd like to call in and join in the show, 480-655-8870. Stay tuned. We got, we got champ Doug Kalitta coming in. People, you guys can hang in for that interview.
Wrench Nation continues.
This is Wrench Nation with your hosts, Frank and Steve.
And Wally Cahill here too today on Wrench Nation. And we got somebody special on the phone. Frank, who do we got?
Well, I tell you what, we're privileged to have. We have Mr. Doug Kalitta, top fuel drag racer, Kalitta Motorsports. Welcome to the show, Doug.
Well, thank you for having me on today, guys.
Now, what we're talking about, we can't give Mr. Doug Kalitta an intro without a little burnout action. Welcome to the show, Doug. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm still here in Michigan. Looking forward to coming out to Phoenix this weekend.
Well, we are as well, and we wanted to thank you so much. We spent some time during the Test and Tune. Lots going on, and you just came off of a tremendous Pomona win. Congratulations. That is awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
What's on the shoulder from a win like that coming into that next race? How do you prepare for that?
Yeah, we tore up a lot of parts. It was one of those days out at Pomona, but the wind light kept coming on, and we weren't complaining. But so we had some regrouping to do. Really, just a couple motors, which for my guys is really not that big of a feat to get our inventory back up. And so yeah, we'll be charged up and ready to go again. The NHRA coming to Phoenix is a big deal for my team. I always enjoy running in Phoenix, and we're carrying a lot of momentum with that win at the first race. So we're looking to do it again if we play our cards right.
One thing, Doug, you got to know it's cold here. It's about 61 degrees right here, which is for Phoenix is a little bit chilly. Now I'm sure back where you're at, or is it 70 degrees back where in Michigan right now, because the whole country's topsy-turvy with temperatures?
Yeah, right now it's 38 here in Michigan.
Oh!
And,
Wow.
So 50 sounds really good, actually. So, our cars perform a lot better when it's cool. So
yes.
I think what you'll see for the fans and everybody, there'll be some incredible runs.
Incredible runs. In fact, as it gets later in the day, I know your top tuner there, Jimbo, he's on it this year on you directly. Nobody else. He's not splitting his talent anywhere. You guys are probably coming off, Pomona, like you said, the momentum that you carry in. This might be your year, but you're off to a heck of a start. Now, if you can do a 1-2 punch, maybe you can get some of those other guys up on the ropes right to start with and mess with their head.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do. Jim does a great job tuning my Mac Tools car, and it's going to be big power, in good condition. So it's going to be a lot of fun to drive that thing this weekend, and I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Doug, we've talked to a lot of drivers out of the Kalitta Motorsports camp when we were out there doing Test and Tune. one of the questions we asked was about the Burnout Strategy. Fans love the Burnout. It is, for someone first starting their first preview of NHRA with a Burnout, tell us about the strategy that's happening. What's going down during that Burnout?
Yeah, I mean, what we're trying to accomplish is just getting some heat in the tires, try to get the tires up to, just a little better grip. So, we don't necessarily do a super long burnout. We try to do it the same each time. So, with I think a lot of the Kalitta cars, we'll do the burnout up until where the Christmas tree is, and that's where you would get out of it. But it's fun. It's things smoking the tires, and the fans are all standing there. The engine sounds a little different, so it's exciting. But we're just trying to get some heat in the tires and get set up for a good run.
That makes perfect sense, and I understand that if it's too short or too long of a distance, that has to be calculated just right. A lot of folks don't realize that that could affect that gripping strategy.
Yeah, a lot of what we do with tuning the car is repetitious. We try to, as far as driving the thing, just try to hold, with the clutch, try not to drag the clutch where you're heating up those clutch discs. So we do everything the same with our procedure as far as after the burnout, coming back and putting the engine together. Between each round, we're pulling the engine completely apart, so everything goes back in the same. So it's just we try to keep the engine and the clutch and everything that we do with driving the car this, as much of the same as you can. Sometimes somebody will hold you up a little bit, or just kind of, you'll have clutch out a little longer than you'd hoped, or so that's the fun part of racing against somebody else is just all of what goes into that. But as long as that wind light comes on, I mean, that's really what it's all about with me, Jim O, and my whole Mac Tools team. We're hoping to get 4 wind lights again.
Well, we're rooting for you. We're rooting for you, no doubt. You mentioned discipline. We've got a question here, and this really comes from, EVIT is the East Valley Institute of Technology. We have an amazing automotive program here, nationally recognized. Discipline is a key factor in life, for sure. What would you say to some of these up-and-coming students that may have just they had a tough day, they had a tough week, and perhaps they're thinking, maybe I don't want to get into this automotive trade because I couldn't quite get this right. What would you give them as advice on how to overcome some of those challenges?
Yeah, with what we do out there, working with your hands, working with, Mac tools and just taking the car apart, putting it back together. I mean, nobody can take that kind of knowledge away from anybody that's good with working with their hands, welding, fabricating, assembling, disassembly. So it's a passion. I mean, it's just something you love to do, if you're one of the mechanics or any part of our team. So, but really the main thing is just attention to detail with our guys and everything we do. It's got to be right. It's just in some cases, it's just the smallest of detail that, keeps the consistency of what we need to have to win these races.
That's right, Doug. Now, one of the things, most of the students here probably can relate to this, and I'm going to bring them into focus on it. When you guys win a race, back on the starting line, and you never get to participate in it, thank God, you guys do a mosh pit down there. Your whole team does. Where did that start? What happened with that? It started with a slug in the stomach, and now it's a full-on mosh pit. Yes.
Like you say, it's something you want to stay clear of unless you're a lot stronger than me, because I think if I got on the bottom of that pile, it'd probably could carry me off. But no, the guys are very passionate. We all, we're 4 teams that, work very well together and very close together. So it's great that, we can all feel the accomplishment of any one of our cars winning and, and enjoying in the fun.
That's right. I'll tell you, it's a family motorsports. Your uncle, Connie Kalitta, is the owner of the whole team, the whole tribe, so to speak, there. Lots of history with him going way back. He's still out there. He's still doing it. He's got you out there. The whole family teams all around there. I mean, it's nothing but family motorsports. We encourage everybody, head on out to Wild Horse Pass this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Friday, if you're really bored, you can play hooky from work. But a couple good days of racing. Weather's going to be great. Every ticket's a pit pass. Run down to the Kalitta group down there. You're going to find a lot of those guys are very accessible, and Doug might even give you some tips on how to do a burnout.
Exactly. I'd be happy to.
Yeah, I was just going
to. Part of your group would be happy to have come out, or your listening group too as well.
Yeah, Doug, I was just going to say, for one to take a Friday off, I think productivity would be increased that following week for sure. That's a great way to go out. Doug, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We so appreciate you. Wish you well, the whole Kalitta Motorsports family. Thank you so much for spending time with us here on Wrench Nation.
And no problem. Thanks for having me on today.
There you go, Doug. We'll see you in a couple days.
All right. Take care.
All right, on the phone with us, the wiser advisor, JB from Bolt On Technology.
Yo, Frank and Steve, how you guys doing?
Good. How you doing, JB?
Sounds like he's in the
I'm
toilet.
doing pretty good, but following up after Doug there, I don't know.
I was just thinking about that. I was saying to Steve, well, we had you holding on. Thank you for holding.
We love JB.
Yeah, we love JB, and we just never know. This is the way it goes. Look, this ain't the Oprah show, man. When we get guests like a Doug Kalitta, and you guys tune in for the next remainder of the show into the second hour. We got more guests, surprises. But JB, the people want to know every week, JB with the Bolt On family, the wiser advisor, you got a challenge question for us this week?
Yes, I do, gentlemen, and it's related to today's topic. So you ready?
Yes,
All
go
right,
ahead.
we're ready.
All right. Though the NHRA dragster engines are heavily modified, they are still based on a basic engine design made by which of the following manufacturers? General Motors, Chrysler, Ford, Chevy.
Oh, lots of shaking of heads in the studio right now.
Yeah.
Repeat
I'll
the
read it
question.
again.
Yeah,
One
let's
more
do it.
time.
Okay, though the NHRA dragster engines are heavily modified,
Okay.
they are based on an engine design that is made by which of the following manufacturers? General Motors, Chrysler, Ford, or Chevy?
All right, so what do you guys think? We
All right,
wanna hear
listeners
from
need
you.
to call in at 480-655-8870. What do you think? 480-655-8870. This is a tough one for me.
Well,
If I go back to the history, and you go back to the history of racing, I mean, I got some idea, but I don't want to say it yet.
well, you almost think like you think about the history of racing, you almost think like Ford and Chevy did really good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Honda wasn't in there.
Oh yeah, right. We got
To the
drifters.
history of racing.
Well,
Wally.
wait a minute. We
A
got
long time ago.
we got drifters listening. Be careful.
480-655-8870. If you get the answer right, we'll give you your choice of Pot of Gold Music Festival tickets for 3 days or Renaissance Festival tickets for 4.
Yeah, if you think-
480-655-8870.
Yeah, we're giving all kinds of stuff.
Call now.
And if you're listening live and you're out of state, I'll tell you what. If you call in, obviously we give you these tickets for these local events. Doesn't work for you. Hey, I've got T-shirts, man. They're fresh off the presses. So if you call in with an answer, you get yourself a fancy schmancy Wrench Nation Car Talk T-shirt. We had just talked to Doug Kalitta, Kalitta Motorsports, and I got to say, in sort of picking up the theme from what Wally said, he said something that really triggered me. It continues to trigger to me. And I'm sure if you're listening, it does perk you up a little bit. Family motorsports. Family sports. You know what bugs me? And maybe you guys can relate. And JB, I'm going to pick your brain on this one.
All
know, as parents, we start our kids in sort of a lively, joyful, fun soccer, fun baseball. Now, I get it. As they get older, there's competition. But it just seems like a lot of those sports, as a talent develops, I mean, I get the family of a team, but it's not really, like, I don't see an association with family and community like NHRA. You've been to the track. You've been to the races. Am I off here in this sort of commenting or thinking about that?
Well, no, I think you're absolutely on the thing that the people that are at the races, Doug and his crew, have to be a family because they need to live together closely and they have to work together really closely. And if you're not a family team, that's never going to work. And just like you said, it's repetition, but also you have to have details. Pay attention to details. And the only way you're going to do that is to have a really close-knit group of people.
Yeah, to me it sounds like special forces military-wise or just military in general. You've got your platoon, everybody's just lock, stock, in line, and you train and train and train. Wally, how many in the pit? Is it 7? You've got 7 fellas or gals in the pit?
Yeah, there's not a specific number, but that's they're not mandated
Usually,
a specific number. Okay. You figure you got 2 head guys, you got a bottom end guy, you got a blower guy, you got the crew chief. So you're 6, maybe 7, depending on if you got maybe you got a tire wiper or something going on there too.
I would do that. I'd like to tire wipe.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the cool thing is you get to do it up on the starting line.
That's a big deal. Tire wiping. We're going to talk more about that.
Are you qualified, buddy?
Hopefully. I don't know. I gotta
He's
ask.
tire wiping certified. Are you kidding me?
Over dinner tonight, I'm going to ask my kids. We always do the whole, how was your day? Well, honey, kids, do you think I'd make a good tire wiper? What do you mean?
Whisper.
That's it.
Hey, we've got some listeners on the hold here. Let's play the game real quick.
All right.
Who do we have on the phone?
This is Blaine.
Hey, Blaine, how you doing? Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Waddell, Arizona.
Very nice. Way up in Waddell. Wow.
Oh, the Wrench Nation is getting way up there.
Thanks for listening. Hey, man. Okay. So, JB, repeat your question.
Okay, so the NHRA dragster engines are heavily modified. They are based on what basic engine design made by which of the following manufacturers? General Motors, Chrysler, Ford, or Chevy?
All right. What do you got, Blaine?
I think it was a Chrysler Hemi.
Whoa, Daddy.
Wow,
Yes, it is.
You got it.
Now,
got
listen, wait a minute. So you are calling from Odell?
Waddell.
Waddell.
I'm sorry, Waddell. There's no internet up there, so I know that you didn't cheat.
He does, too, have internet in Waddell. He puts the fork in the toaster, and it makes the Wi-Fi work.
Well, I'll tell you what. What's your knowledge? How did you know that was Dodge? Are you a big fan of NHRA?
I'm a big fan of racing in general, but
Nice.
I've been numerous situations in racing, from circle track to drag racing, and a lot of different things.
Nice. Well, you hit it right on the head, and we appreciate you hanging. You want a T-shirt or you want a little?
No, it's Pot of Gold or it's Renaissance Festival.
But he's way up there. I don't
So
know.
he can drive there.
What do you think? You want what would you like?
T-shirt's cool.
Hey, I
All
told
right,
you.
Wrench Nation T-shirt.
I'm telling you, we're selling T-shirts.
Yeah, throw it in the mail now.
Get with Bree, and she'll get your information. And, brother, if you're not on Facebook, man, head on over there. We do a lot of stuff over there. We are so
Thank
appreciate
you, Blaine, for
calling in.
listening to Wrench Nation. We have another listener on hold. His name is the same as my name. His name is Steven. Hey, Steven, what's up?
How you doing?
Good. Where are you calling from?
Mesa.
Oh, that's not so far away.
Not so far.
We're right here in Mesa right now.
He'll still want a T-shirt.
Okay,
I guarantee.
what
He
about
wants a T-shirt.
If you're willing to give him, I'm like, hey, let's do the Wrench Nation shirts. You got next hour. You got a question, right?
Yeah.
Let's use it right now
All right.
because we got this nice guy on the phone.
Well, I didn't really prepare a next hour question, to be honest with you.
All right, well, come up with a question about
Well,
racing, Frank, or
what-
Wally, help us out.
Well, we'll make it enticing, but we want to ask you a few questions, though. Are you headed to the races this weekend?
No. Not this weekend.
Okay. Have you been in an NHL race?
I have gone to a few, yes.
What was the feeling your first time?
Oh, it's exciting.
Were you a bit handicapped afterwards?
Did you have to plug your ears? Like, could you hear it all?
I spent most of my time in the stands, but you end up coming out of there pretty much yelling at each other because
Yes.
you can't hear what's going on.
Well, I tell you, I just read an account. Of course, I don't know firsthand. I'm sure Wally Cahill. Wally, have you seen a couple of ear bleeds on the track? I mean, seriously.
No, but I've had a couple of ear bleeds.
Oh, you have firsthand.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. It's something I describe it as sonic. It actually like rattles your insides.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't realize the fact that 10, 11,000 horsepower will do that to you, to the air around there. And I've been standing on the starting line in between two top fuel dragsters.
Oh, wow. That's fun.
That's a combination of about 20,000 horsepower and a whole lot of pressure. My pal Bobby Unser's son, it knocked him flat on his back.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me ask you a question as you're listening. Sure. If I could get you to the track this weekend, would you have the time to go?
Oh, I'm sure I could probably make the time. Not going to be out of town.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're available, just because this is probably the best thing that I can give you, how about you 2 tickets to the races from our family to you? Would you like that?
Sure.
It's a done deal.
Sweet. Hang on a second, and Bree will get your info, Steven, and Frank will get in touch with you, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Hang on 1 second. All right. Well, that was very generous of you, Frank.
Well, I didn't want to promote too much because, I have 2 tickets, and I just felt we don't plan anything here at Wrench Nation.
I was just getting the Wrench Nation drag racing
that beats
quiz
a
going
T-shirt,
here.
dude. That beats a T-shirt.
No, I just felt like, I just said, let's give the man tickets. I think if he's available.
Right.
So get with Bree on that one. And as the future rolls, we, as the show grows, guys, hey, tell your friends. The more people listening, the more I can go beat up and get us tickets.
Yes.
That's kind of how it works. So, Wally, on race day, we were out at Test and Tune, which was awesome.
Right.
A bit more relaxed, but still business at hand. You've seen these things go down over the years. One interesting fact that I didn't know, and a lot of you listening probably don't know either, but in the pit, when they're warming these rails up, you would think that they're getting fed this nitromethane from the tank.
Right.
They're not.
No.
All they're doing is squirting in the throttle plate a little bit into that super charger.
No,
Am I right?
That's to get it going.
Right.
Right. And a lot of times they're running alcohol in the pits.
For safety.
No. Just because they don't want to do the extra wear and tear on it. Just like when they go out to do the burnout, one of the things that we were going to talk about with Doug as far as the burnout procedure, they do that with a throttle stop on, holding the throttle plates closed. So they're doing that burnout with about 1/10 of their horsepower that's actually available. Right. And they're only doing it on one fuel pump. So when they stage, you hear the whole motor kind of draw down, and start lugging. That's when they turn on that second fuel pump. And if you could see inside the cylinder, it's just about flooded completely to the point of hydraulicking that cylinder.
Hydrolocking.
Yes.
Tell me about this hydrolocking. So, and certainly we got the lucky foot on the Wrench Nation show. We're not saying anything. We want everybody to win. But when that rail is running down about half track and you see it go sideways a little bit, to the point where it's sideways uncorrectable, because those are little sissy wheels on the front. Those are tiny. I mean, really.
Right.
You ain't. I mean,
but the rail's really long, so it's not like a short wheelbase, so it's easier to control at speed.
Losing a cylinder mid-track or 2 or 3, that's a common fight. That's a common challenge.
Yes, it's a common challenge, and what you have to think about, over 1,000 horsepower per cylinder. So what happens is when one of those cylinders goes out, you'll see like they call it a wet tube, or basically, the spark plug isn't firing anymore, so you're spewing liquid out of one of those cylinders, and what drives them the opposite way. So like if a cylinder goes out on the left bank, it's going left, and the reason it's going left is it's lost all that downforce coming out of the exhaust pipe, out of the header. That's how delicate it is. So when it starts to spin the tires a little bit and you got to back out of the throttle and get back into it again, you always take the chance, because everything's done on timers, the clutch timing and everything, it's always done on timers. So just that 1/10 of a second, you're out of the throttle and back in, you pretty much screwed up everything that was synchronized for the run, and now you're going to be limping through just hoping you get the wind light.
Wow. Kind of reminds me of all my Navy military peeps, like an old battleship. You couldn't fire from the port side at the same time, all those cannons.
Right.
Because it'd
tip it over.
It all tips. So there is a balancing effect. Hey, and the other thing, Steve.
Yes.
You know what? One cylinder equals the horsepower for all you NASCAR people, more than a NASCAR engine. Did
Yes.
you know this one? This is
Really?
crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what one NHRA top fuel motor equals the first, the first 10 rows, is it 5 rows? First 5 rows, 10 cars. So one NHRA motor has more than the first 5 rows of a NASCAR race. How about that?
Well, I'll tell you, JB, you've been hanging patiently with us.
Yeah, we love you, JB. Thanks.
Someday we're going to have a jet come pick you up and fly you into the studio every week. JB, are you with us?
Oh, maybe he's gone now.
He's
here he
gone.
is. JB's there. JB, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, there you go.
So sorry. We were just talking. I mean, actually, it's pretty stunning. The magnitude. Now, JB, your understanding as well, and Wally, is that there isn't a dyno that you can really test this for horsepower. Like
No, there's not a.
That's just way too much.
Yeah, there's not a dyno big enough, unfortunately.
Yeah. So what's the math calculation? I mean, right now, I remember when I was going big time back in the day, it was 6,000-7,000 horsepower, but now we're talking about 10,000, 11,000. 11,000, is that right?
That's what they're saying, 11,000, but
How do you calculate that?
You don't, and I think there's a little bit of a BS factor going on there, only because you can't calculate it. So mysteriously, they seem to be making an extra 500 to 1,000 horsepower every time you talk to them. I'd rather see personally 6,000 to 8,000 horsepower, make it manageable, and maybe you don't have to tear it down every run.
Well, no, the people want to see speed, Wally. Come on. We want to see fast.
Fun.
Yeah.
Well, they want to hear the pop of the nitro.
Yeah. Hey, JB, so when was your last experience with Top Fuel Funny?
Well, I actually have to admit to have not been able to go to a track yet.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you're virgin.
Now you
you.
have to fly him out for that, Frank.
I'm thinking, wait a minute. Does Frank have airline tickets?
No, but Doug Kalitta flies airplanes.
That's right, with Kalitta Air. That's right. Well,
Just borrow one of his planes.
that's what we could do. JB, any last words before we go to the break? Anything you'd like to say
Well,
about
one of the most crazy things to think about is we found that it's a Chrysler Hemi type engine, and it's a very basic, old-fashioned engine that they're using. And what they're basically just doing is ramming air and fuel into it and using crazy things to make this thing produce more power than anything else on the street. And that's pretty amazing.
kind of like putting a couch in a blender. Yeah. Well,
So,
hey,
JB, got a quick thing for you here. We're talking about these Chrysler Hemis. We're talking about all the horsepower. You know I test the car every week. Guess what I'm testing this week?
A Chrysler Hemi.
You got it. The Hellcat. The wide body Challenger Hellcat.
we're doing a video on that.
Just a mere 707 horsepower.
We're doing a Facebook video on that. There ain't no doubt about that.
And they actually even use the air conditioning on that thing to get further power out of it.
Wow.
I thought that would be a great idea many years ago. Just go ahead and run it through the airbox.
JB, we appreciate you, brother. We'll catch you next week. JB with Bolt-On Technology, the wiser advisor. Always appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. And Wrench Nation will continue after the break.
Wrench Nation Car Talk. Call or text your questions now. 480-655-8870.
It is hour number 2 of our Wrench Nation NHRA Spectacular.
Yeah, we welcome you guys back. If you had been new to the show, of course, we backed it up and said, let's do another hour. So that's 3 to 5.
Yes.
If you're catching this on the podcast, you guys rock. We appreciate you. This show is all dedicated to the wonders, the monstrosities, the feel it in your kneecaps, people. Top Fuel Funny Car. You may have seen it on TV. We invite you out to the racetrack this weekend. A great time with your family. We had Doug Kalitta on, and we do have a very special guest. We have the 2017 Funny Car champ, Robert Hight, is in the house. What is happening, Robert?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on, but you're right. If you've never been to a race, you've got to get out there. If you've only seen it on TV, it doesn't do it justice. You've got to get out there and feel it, hear it, smell it, everything.
Robert, this is what happened to me. I'm a victim. My first time out. In fact, I had my daughter out, and she braved it better than I. I needed surgery afterwards. Oh my goodness, it was so great. Coming off of a amazing 2017 championship season, how are you preparing mentally to get out there for another great winning season. Tell us about that.
Well, so far so good this year. We were in Phoenix testing a few weeks ago, and then we started the season out in Pomona. I didn't get the win, but I got a runner-up, and we were number 2 qualifier. We're doing well. We're kind of started where we left off last year. I feel we're in a good place, and we're coming to Phoenix this week. And if you look at the weather forecast, the conditions are going to be unbelievable. You're going to see records. I promise you, you're going to see records in Top Fuel and Funny Car.
Well, I tell you, with over 305 races, Robert, seasoned out there, we got a lot of youngsters who are up and coming in motorsports, and they may have a few losses. Talk to me about your advice. Give them the advice. We heard Doug talk about it's in the belly, it's the passion, it's the spirit. Give these youngsters an idea of what they can do to overcome some of those challenges so that they're back, fresh start, ready to rock.
Well, my daughter, she's 13 years old, and she's racing junior dragsters, okay? She's been racing junior dragsters since she was 8 years old. So she, at 13 years old, is way ahead of Dad. I didn't start driving a race car until I was in my 30s. I started as a mechanic, started working on the race cars, and then John gave me an opportunity to drive. So kids these days have it made. I mean, they can get into a junior dragster and work their way up, come up super comp dragsters, then go into the alcohol classes, and then, nitro or pro stock. So I spent last weekend in Irwindale with my daughter, and I can't believe these kids and the competitiveness. I mean, if you don't go out there and cut 20 or better light and run within 100th of your index, you're going home.
I can see that, and I got to share the experience, Robert. I coached volleyball for a little bit, and it got serious with these kids. I don't remember growing up with it all too serious, and this competition amongst these youngsters is incredible. Hey, in that AAA Auto Club car that you got, tell us the logic, the strategy. We have a little lake next to our track, and we know that the temperatures will be ideal. In the afternoon, what's a little different in strategizing that lake effect, if you will, on possibly the track temperatures?
Well, basically, what our enemy is track temperature, okay? We can make horsepower in any kind of air. Even up in Denver, we can spin the supercharger faster and put timing in it and nitro percentage. We can do a lot of things to manipulate horsepower. But your enemy is track temperature, okay? And when it's sunny and 80, 90 degrees, the track temperature is up 120 degrees. So it's greasy, and you've got to slide the clutch to get the car down the track. Well, we're going to be facing temperatures in the low 60s, and the track temperature is probably going to be in the 80s or 90s, and that is what we call mine shaft conditions. It's like going to Disneyland. It's what you dream of. Oh. And basically, this weekend, the conditions are going to be absolutely, you couldn't write a better script for a race. So I'm pretty fortunate. I hold the national ET record for funny car and speed record.
Oh, boy, we got to clap on that one there. Are you kidding me? I'd give you a burnout, but we don't have it queued up.
No, I actually do. I actually have his car on YouTube. Robert Hight, Funny Car Burnout. Are you ready?
Let's set it up to 2017 Funny Car Champ with the ET.
Here we go.
Hit it.
Right there's Robert's car.
That was you, Mr. Hight. Well, I tell you mentioned, and we so appreciate that. We mentioned that, and that's what's really cool. Of course, we certainly don't have to preach to the Force family, but the feeling of an NHRA, it's bringing families together, really. And I know there can be some struggles within the race season, and and that requires a lot of discipline. But from a fan perspective, man, I don't see that anywhere else really that's so approachable and everyone's getting together and just
okay.
enjoying it.
Let's bring something out. Robert, it's Wally Cahill here. Now, what you guys have is very unique in the sport. Family Motorsports, I mean, all around NHRA, if you look all the way through John Force Racing, you guys are all immediate family. You know, how cool is that? You get to hang out with your father-in-law all the time.
Uh-oh. We won't ask for stories there, Robert.
I'm not telling any.
I'm not saying anything, he said. Robert, let me ask you real quick. We got a lot of wrenches, up-and-coming mechanics, automotive technicians, with the industry going, you know, there's telematics, there's controlled air networks. You know, there's a good segment of youngsters that, you know, they may not be interested on a path for driving. How does a younger mechanic get started and end up maybe working on a funny car or a Top Fuel Dragster?
I can tell you right now, we have a shortage of good trained technicians. When I went to get a job on a nitro team, it was hard to get on. I mean, there was people standing in line. Okay, and I was fortunate enough to get on good teams and get on John Force's team. But truthfully, anymore, you're seeing less and less younger people working on cars. So there's a shortage. If you're a good trained mechanic, you can get a job any day on a Top Fuel or funny car team. And if you have a CDL driver's license, man, that guarantees you a job because our mechanics also drive. Tech schools, we hire out of tech schools. Those guys are, come right out of school and they're ready to go right into battle on a race car. So good stuff there. I had to do it the hard way.
You did, yeah. It's like getting on the fire department. Back in the day, they were only hiring one firefighter. I totally get that.
That's exactly right.
You know, Robert, we talk about this all the time as aftermarket garages, and for that matter, dealership, middle management, ownership, and stuff. One of the conundrums is, boy, we can't find talent. And, I did a podcast earlier, actually, with Ratchet and Wrench, and we talked about how we've got to groom our talent through these great automotive programs at a high school level. And so if you're listening, you got a 2017 Funny Car Champ, over 300 races. The advice is straightforward. Get it in your belly. If you want an opportunity, it is there, people. Doug, Kalitta said earlier during his Burnout Strategy, we have to ask you, Robert, without any secret sauce, maybe there's some secret sauce, what is the strategy for you during a burnout?
Consistency. To do the same thing every single time so that when I pull up the stage, the temperature of the clutch, the temperature of the tires, the temperature of the engine, everything is the same. And, part of what we do is consistency. You've got to be consistent every single run. And if I start changing it up and not doing the same thing every time, my crew chief and their team and the team, they're chasing their tail. They're guessing what I'm going to do next. So my job is to be consistent. And that's what I try to do every single time.
The discipline, definitely. 2017 Funny Car Champ. We appreciate you, Robert Hight, out of the Force Camp. We appreciate you. We'd love to have you on in the future. We're going to be out there. We'll look forward to seeing you guys. Good luck on the track. Be safe, and we'll talk soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robert.
Thanks for having me, guys, and I'll be glad to come on anytime.
Thanks,
Thank
Robert.
you.
Appreciate it.
We're going to leave with the burnout because he's got one more on here. This one is from extremely close. This camera is right next to the car.
Hey, wait a minute.
You ready for this?
If you're listening, put some earplugs on.
Yes, exactly. Turn your radio down. Let's see how it sounds. Oh!
No. That was...
Oh!
Now, see, if you got an old...
Oh, that hurt.
The problem is if you ain't got the right speakers... I'm saying if you got an old Datsun where the pitch is really high, that would have sounded like a broken flute or something. You guys stay tuned. We got a jam-packed show. We've got more driver interviews. From what I understand, this is the only show right now in Arizona that's covering NHRA deep, people. Please stay tuned. We got some more driver interviews for you guys right here on Wrench Nation.
Car talk, car culture, car tips, car music, all that is car. This is Wrench Nation with your hosts, Frank and Steve.
Time flies when you're having fun, as it does always here on Wrench Nation.
Yeah, we're super grateful if you guys are just tuning in to have just some great family, community, and don't forget some disciplined drivers, winners on the racetrack. You know, we see this on TV and we don't realize it's like, oh, that was done in 4 seconds, and we don't realize, boy, it's a lot of work.
Man, I'll tell you. One thing, too, and we didn't hit on it with Doug or with Robert, with the Burnout Sequence. If they go out, say, for instance, they measure the fuel they put in. You talked about the amount of fuel that goes through per second on there. If they go a little bit long on the burnout or they sit a little bit long on the starting line, which they call burning each other down, temperatures go up. But what people don't realize, these things use so much fuel, they're apt to run out of gas before that 1,000 feet, or fuel. I shouldn't say gas. It's not gas.
Well, let me ask you, because it seemed like the crew chief, that's a key position. That's sort of, could we say it's the coach? It's
yes. No, it's the brains of the outfit. It is the brains,
and I can imagine, like, test and tune is serious. They're going through all their preliminaries. But man, race weekend, do you see a different animal coming out of a crew chief?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we talked about it before. We don't do anything with these guys on race day.
Respectfully, absolutely, yeah.
Now, as I say that, I have to bite my tongue because we're out there live from 6 to 10 with KTVK Channel 3, on race day.
Well, let's plug. We'll just say so you guys know, are they the only local AZ family, Channel 3?
Well, pretty much local.
Okay.
But are they the only one out there, are you asking?
Well, probably not.
Probably.
Oh, but then all you need to know is that Wally Cahill. You'll be out there.
I'll be out there. I'm field producing. I set up the interviews for Kim Quintera, the best weather girl in town, the only accurate weather girl in town, I might say, too.
That was your point.
And, okay, so Kim, you owe me $20.
That's it, Kim. I know you're listening, you gearhead, Kim.
That's right. But I also have, for this week's car, not the one we're reviewing right here.
Not yet.
But Sunday morning, you're going to see the new 2018 Challenger wide-body Hellcat.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. 707 horsepower of supercharged Hemi.
All right. The question that people want to know, because you just described it, they probably saw some video of it. Can we do a video on that one?
Sure.
All right. I'm talking like, can we go to Bondurant? Oh, I'm putting you on the spot. Don't answer that. I'm putting you on the spot.
You want to take that thing out and just let it go, don't you, Frank?
Oh, no. I'll tell you what. This is so funny that you say that. About 5 minutes ago, while we were on the air talking to Robert, I got a text from Jennifer over at NHRA. At 2 o'clock tomorrow, I'll be out at Bondurant with Leah Pritchett.
Oh, Leah.
On
she's
the
a rock
track
star. Yeah.
With a Hellcat.
Tell the people, if they don't know, if they're new to NHRA, Leah Pritchett.
Yes,
Leah
Pritchett.
We can't. I mean, you can't have a discussion of NHRA without having a discussion about Leah Pritchett.
Well, you know what you have there is you have your basic female. When I say basic female, that's no disrespect. She's a female gearhead that was a fan. Her husband races. He's on a crew. It's a family motorsports.
So wait,
deal.
now you said basic. Are you talking about, was she like working the background and said, hey, I want to do this?
She was selling T-shirts.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I've seen her run.
Yeah.
No. She's competitive.
Yeah. Last year, she won the first 2 races, Pomona and the Phoenix race.
Yeah. And Leah, if you're listening, you call into the show.
Yeah, right.
I think you're here. Are you probably here staying somewhere if you're hitting the Bondurant tomorrow?
Yeah. No, she'll be out there tomorrow. Like I said,
right. Well, I'm teasing you guys listening. We're gonna give you something big on the Wrench Nation Facebook. So spread the word. We're gonna do something via video. I always like to take you guys from the studio down in the garage, and I'm not running any racing in the garage. But we like to take the show into the garage and, formulate that into some value, some entertainment, and keep it real and raw.
Well, we'll take a good, hard look at that new 2018 Hellcat wide body. We're going to find out why they sent it to me. It's a wide body. Are they trying to tell me something? Yeah.
Wally. That's Wally Wide
Body. Tell you and I something.
Wally Wide Body Cahill right there.
That's it.
Well,
I resemble that remark.
So let me ask you something about the crew chiefs. Some of the strategy, we hear about it on football teams, perhaps mid-season, offensive coach perhaps gets demoted, or, they switch it up. Or better yet, let's go to the athletes. Receivers now playing a different position. Tell me about, there was a switch up within Force's camp, mid-season maybe, and they switch things up like that.
You know what? And he does that almost every year.
Okay.
He really does. What they do, the chemistry between the teams is very important. All these guys, all these teams, like I said, all 4 drivers are related. All 4 teams are pretty much consistent. They may, drop one here, drop one there, and add one, but they all do everything. They know what they're doing. So if the chemistry, say, between Robert and his crew chief, who he's working with, for some reason they're just not clicking. They're not fighting. They're just not getting it done. John will say, "Stop, everybody switch," and you do it again. And he's not afraid to do it. And last year,
it gets respect for doing it. People listen.
Well, if you look at what he did last year.
Top
Top Fuel Championship, Funny Car Championship inside the John Force camp. That doesn't happen very often, especially if you're up against Don Schumacher Racing and the mega dollars they've got over there on that side of the fence.
God, that's not like a playbook you can have written out. I think there's a lot of that is gut. With John Force, legend, champion on the track, champion as an individual, who in fact just got his doctorate, correct?
Yes.
Let's talk about that. You guys listening understand. Dr. John. Boy, John, if you're listening, call us.
Yeah.
Anybody from the Force family.
They're all in California.
I know they are. We were grateful to have our friend, our 2017 champion on. NHRA legend awarded honorary doctorate from the University of Northwestern Ohio. And that really stemmed from years and years of contributing passionately to the safety of the NHRA program.
Yes.
As fans.
Big deal.
That is a big deal. We're going to dive into some of that safety. Look, as fans, no matter what sport we're watching, there's a little thrill, and helmet to helmet, and, oh, wow, that engine blew. But, man, we don't wish that on the track. That's some dangerous. People have really, paid the price.
It's a hand grenade.
It is.
Whether it be the motor, the transmission. Well, not so much the transmission. They have no transmission. It's one speed.
Yeah, right.
But they have a clutch that could have 5 or 6 discs inside. And when those things come apart, they have a titanium bulletproof scatter shield, bell housing, basically. That's supposed to retain that concussion and keep that stuff from flying out. Because what used to happen in the old days, when you talk about safety, drivers' legs used to get cut off doing that.
Just so you know, John Force joins the great Richard Petty as the first drag racer, joining up with Richard Petty to earn a degree in this way. Yeah, that's it says right here, verbatim, Force became the first drag racer recognized for the honorary doctorates from UNOH, joining NASCAR greats Richard Petty and Richard Childress. Can't forget that.
Okay, so
Richard, if you're listening, I didn't mean you.
Right, but he's not a driver, he's an owner.
He's not. He's an owner, but it's still within that arena.
You know why he's the first drag racer? They have such a short attention span, they can't keep focused for more than 4 seconds.
Mr. Force, did you hear that? You definitely got a call, and you can't let Wally get away with that. Force, when I was quoted, is saying, I never had this kind of opportunity. I learned on the racetracks in the boardrooms. I got an education at truck stops across the country.
Yep.
Force told the students during a faculty meeting and special ceremony, I'm honored to receive this doctorate, mainly because I saw the passion behind these students for motorsports as well as their other programs. They're really turning their passions into careers. That's what we talked about earlier. You mechanics out there, you up-and-coming wrenches, if you feel that, you may want to go in sort of that race career, understand, first off, don't ever lose the fire in your belly. No matter what you do, keep that fire, even with failure. There is opportunity. So I would say to you guys, reach out to us on Wrench Nation Facebook. Who knows how we can keep you guys connected.
So it's interesting. Robert Hight also said there's a shortage.
Yeah.
Those jobs are hard to come by, but there's still a shortage. And just like all of those skilled technical jobs out there available right now.
Yeah,
Grab your toolbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got more interviews coming. Stay tuned right here on Wrench Nation.
This is Wrench Nation with your hosts, Frank and Steve.
And Wally Cahill hanging out too, all about NHRA and the funny cars coming to town this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to be out there, guys. If you're out Saturday, Wally and I will be hanging out, and we'd love to see you guys.
We're going to be looking for hamburgers over at the Force Camp. I can tell you that.
Yeah, we are. And I don't think we're really working. We're just going to hang, man, and have a good time.
Yeah.
We're not bringing anything special.
We just had Robert Hight on. He has the funny car record, the first time ever, just last August, of a 3.793. So it's never been below 3.8 until then. 338 miles an hour. And then Leah Pritchett has the quickest run in NHRA history at 3.640 seconds.
And I'm going to be in a Hellcat with her tomorrow afternoon. I better bring my helmet.
You need a camera guy, Wally?
There is a back seat.
Hey, you need a lug nut guy?
The G-force going to suck you right up against that seat.
So welcome back. If you're just tuning in, we decided to dedicate, the show is really about helping you with your car care, right? But we decided since inception of this show, personally I thought, yeah, that's great. There's a lot of their car care talk shows out there. But, man, the biggest gist of this show is we're a community. And where we go, you're going to go. And we're going to travel all kinds of goodness in the automotive culture, from racing, now we're talking NHRA Top Fuel Funny Car. And it is your show. So call us, 480-655-8870. We had a great, robust discussion. We talked about this, so you guys know, in the automotive industry right now, there is a shortage. I don't know if it's the same as the nursing industry at one point. I don't know if that's been filled, but just know that your local automotive garages and your local dealerships, they are doing what they can. Most are to keep talented folks on board. We have a lot of mechanics that are listening from across the country, and you guys are rock stars. And I will tell you that before we dive into more of this NHRA topic, be the rock star for your peers. Be the professional, not only for you, but for the rest of the industry. When we talk about a shortage in anything, we can't complain. We can't beat up this, that, and the other thing. It really starts with us. So just remember that. That's my little spiel. We got some driver interviews. We spent time at the Test and Tune, and we're going to set this up with J.R. Todd. So you guys know he's got 11 career wins, the DHL Wix filters, funny car with Kalitta Motorsports. JR has actually been running for quite some time. He is recently new to the Kalitta Motorsports. And what's interesting about JR is, Wally, he went from dragster to funny car transition. And we talked to him a little bit about that, and we're going to get to that. But we did ask JR, hey, how did you get started? How can you get started? And so let's see what he has to say.
Started out racing junior dragsters when I was 10. And, got some lucky breaks along the way. Got into a top fuel car when I graduated high school and thought, hey, man, I'm going to be able to do this forever. And that lasted all of about 6 months. The sponsorship goes away. Then I became a crewman just like these guys for a few years on a Nitro funny car team, which in turn gave me a better respect for these things, and also taught me more as a driver on how these things work and kind of what to expect and what to do and what not to do. So.
Yeah, I mean, he talks a lot. He said quite a bit passionately, and what I heard, he started young, for sure, junior dragsters and so on. But man, he had said something, and a lot of us don't realize. Boy, sponsors. He came out. I mean, and he was running and gunning and had some sponsorship issues. Wally, tell us about it. That's painful, man.
Oh, yes, painful. First of all, let me tell you that NHRA drag racing, from the driver's standpoint, is probably the biggest mood swing you're ever going to have in a career, any career, because one day you're up, next day you're down. 0 to 0 in 1,000 feet, right there. Screw up, you go home. You're on the trailer.
It's discipline. And you know what I got to say, throughout it all, for the most part, in my experience, obviously, while you've been 30-some-odd years around the track, these folks are humble, man.
Oh, yeah.
They're humble.
That's why.
I'll call it out. Some of these basketball folks, and I love basketball. I've been around it for my whole life. But you meet some of these athletes and they don't even want to sign an autograph. And it's my kid. Spend some time with the fans, people. So you got a lot of humble spirit.
Yes. Well, you got humble spirit. You got family. Again, we're coming back to family. The family motorsports. You get out there, every one of those people has family hanging around somewhere, either working with them, traveling with them. It's a family motorsports. Drag racing is a grassroots, run what you brung. It started in Union Grove, Wisconsin, a little bit of track down there by Lake Geneva, and grows from there. That's where it starts.
So that was J.R. Todd out of Kalitta Motorsports driving the DHL Funny Car. We did talk to our Australian buddy, Richie Crampton, newer as well to the Kalitta Motorsports, how he got started. Let's see what he says.
Well, for me, I grew up in Australia. I watched NHRA on TV. I read about it in National Dragster, and I just wanted to be a part of this sport. This is the pinnacle of drag racing in the world. So I moved over here. I was very lucky to land a job with the team and kind of work my way up through the ranks. And for me, just being around the race cars and the competitive nature of getting to go race each weekend and try and win, and the camaraderie of working within the team and the crew guys and the crew chiefs, it's just where I always wanted to be. And
again, it goes back to that passion is always in there.
Well, Richie didn't tell you, but he used to box kangaroos.
Really?
He did.
Actually, he didn't look like a guy. I tried to get out of him. Actually, when we were interviewing, I wanted to get more out of that big breakfast. I think what did we ask him? Say, hey, how do you start the day? What kind of breakfast? And he kind of kept it, generic. But I was looking for that Australian breakfast coming out of Richie Crampton.
No,
give me some Vegemite.
That's it. Vegemite sandwich.
Yes.
First thing in the morning.
Our experience out there, guys, so it was just an incredibly warm. Again, it was test and tune. Certainly, we wouldn't get involved too heavily during race weekend. But that was Richie Crampton. 7 career wins, 9 career final rounds. His career best is 3.683. We hope he changes that. He's chasing that for sure. His career best speed was 329.91.
Right, but this weekend, man, like you're hearing him talking about perfect weather right on by Firebird Lake, which is still called Firebird Lake.
I know. I don't know. I have my opinion about the name change, but hey, it's drag racing, man. That's all that counts. We're out there. Hey, early morning starts. I remember back in the day when Craig Treble was out there, and of course, we haven't even mentioned motorcycles.
Right.
But if you get there early, what's some of the treats? They still let the fans maybe dry the track a little bit if it rains, if you get there early.
Oh, no.
They don't do that.
No. Safety Savari is out there first thing in the morning at 0:30, prepping the track. When we go out there with Channel 3 like we do, at 6 o'clock in the morning, we want to go out and at least walk on the track. They don't even let us because the track is kind of like the
I don't
holy
blame
grail.
them. There's too much, man. In 4 seconds, there's just too much going on. We have a few minutes left, and so we talked about crew chiefs. We talked about sort of the culture of family, a little bit of nut and bolt behind what's happening for horsepower. We do want to get into the new car review. Man, the show is so much fun. I don't even know where we're at on a clock. You got to love that.
We'll do the review when we come back from the break.
Yeah, let's do the review when we come back, guys, because I do want to dive into some of the, I don't want to call it the secret sauce, but it seems like don't mess with the clutch.
Absolutely.
That seems to be like you're not going to, I don't care who you are from what media network, you ain't going to get that secret sauce. Wally, tell us, why is that so coveted? Why is that so secretive?
Okay, so that's the only thing that you're going to see a cover put over or a blanket put over, the only thing that's really secret when it comes down to it, and it's all because it's delivering the power from that 11,000 horsepower Hemi motor to the tires. The key to it is slipping the clutch, so to speak.
Purposely.
Yes. Now,
timing that.
A regular car.
You ain't slipping a car. Yeah.
Right. A little car regular car has 1 disc.
Right.
These have 5 or 6. Computer controlled, timed, I should say not computer controlled, they're air controlled, believe it or not. Air controlled stages of the clutch, they tune for how much power.
So they're not electronic solenoid. You're saying they're pneumatic.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So are these clutches after every run replaced?
No.
Ah.
No. What they do is they mic the thickness of them.
Do they have? So that's when the engine's out.
Right.
They get in that bell housing. Boom. They can check it.
Right. And it's about 2,800 degrees when they go in there.
That's what I understand. Even the tires after burnout is.
Right. Tires not so bad, but I'll tell you what. You grab hold of anything metal on that after a run, you're going to be leaving your fingerprints on it. I'll tell you that.
I'm just saying. I want to be the guy to clean the tires, like at the.
We can
Maybe.
we can
I think we get that. We'll do some YouTube action on that one right there. All right, you guys stay tuned. We got the world famous Wally Cahill new car review. Maybe you guys done with the old car and you buying a new car. It is tax season. Stay tuned. We got a special new car review this week with Wally Cahill. Stay tuned.
Wrench Nation Car Talk on 88.7 The Pulse. Call or text your questions now. 480-655-8870 with your hosts, Frank and Steve.
And I'm playing the car music because it's time for Wally Cahill's new car review.
Yeah, we got a new car review, Wally. You spend a lot of time, 24 hours, 7 days a week with these cars. What do you got this week?
A Pulse.
What?
No.
Yeah, that's us.
I was going to say, like a Nissan Pulse? They bring that sucker back?
Yeah. No, actually, this week we have the 2018 Hyundai Elantra GT.
Ooh.
Hyundai Elantra. All right.
Yeah. You know what? Let me say right to start with, I was pleasantly surprised. Beautiful black paint job. Black's hard. This thing,
hot in this valley.
Not now.
Well, and they're dirty.
Well, no, but having that in the summer, woo.
I don't think so. Tell us more about
dust,
this.
Okay, so we got a 2-liter dual overhead cam, 4-cylinder, direct injection. We keep talking about that all the time. Making 161 horsepower and 150 foot-pounds of torque. Mated to a 6-speed transmission with a sport mode that increases your shift points a little bit, gives you a little bit more fuel, a little bit more timing, and to the point that when you push it, you actually can feel it. And a lot of times you can't.
A lot of these cars seem to have as an added bonus, for the most part, unless you get a real bassy model one, sport mode seems to excite people.
Yes.
But they don't really use it. Do they?
You know, it depends on their driving style. I do because if you need that little shot, sometimes when you're getting on the freeway, like in this case, it was a little car, but if I put it in sport mode, I could be doing 80 miles an hour at the end of that on-ramp merging into traffic. And I prefer to be proactive moving into traffic versus reactive. So I want to be ahead of the traffic, zigging and zagging and making my way through versus...
So you're not an autonomous candidate.
No.
All right. Tell us more about this Hyundai.
There you go. 4-wheel disc brakes, 17-inch wheels. So it's a small car, big wheels.
Yeah. Nice profile.
Nice ride. Surprisingly nice ride. Projector beam headlights works really good at night. A lot of times you can't see good at night.
Hold on a minute. Tell us the difference between regular headlights and projector beam.
Okay, projector beam is kind of like a laser beam, if you want to say. I mean, as far
it
as
projects the light.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, it looks like an eyeball versus like a big old headlight.
What's that do for me as a driver if I'm on the freeway at night?
Gives you probably about another 100 yards of vision.
Okay. All right. That may be a bonus for someone. I'm blind.
Especially if you're driving between like Maricopa and the Valley. That's
yes,
wide open.
With no lights.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, it helps you miss those coyotes.
Really dark out there, yeah.
That's right.
Even the horses.
What'd you like best about this Hyundai?
Probably, it's got the Apple CarPlay in it, and syncs to your whether it's an Android or an Apple, syncs to it and has everything at a fingertip touch right there.
Easy transition. You get in that car, you're communicating with your...
And that says a lot for me. I'm 61 years old. I don't do that very well.
You don't do Twitter?
Who?
What's a Twitter?
I thought that was Tweeter.
Yes.
What I want to say about that, Wally, you gave a little bit of delay. You got excited about this car. We can feel the excitement. You had to think about it, because you drive a lot of cars, and I just want to say this. I want to ask you a question. With driving a new car every week, do you ever get numb? What are you looking for specifically? I mean,
the first day of a new car is always numb. And when I say numb, you're confused. Your mind is confused from spending 1 week in a car and then jumping to another one.
Sure.
So I make no judgments at all the first day. I just go learn to drive it. I learn how to turn the radio on. I just kind of look around in it. And
A natural.
Yes. Now, the second day, I'm starting to look at stuff. I'm pushing it a little bit harder. I want to see a lot of times and people, people probably wouldn't do this on their own. I would do it. I'm going to push the car to the point. I want to see, does the back end slide first or the front end when you go into a corner? And I push it to that level.
All right. Well, let's get some. We got Greg Buckley in the background.
Well,
We have
hold
a
on.
few
How
minutes.
much is
Hang
this
on.
car?
We're going to get there. I was just going to say.
MSRP. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, Greg Buckley's holding. Give us the juice.
Oh, okay. MSRP, $20,360 as tested. The GT model, $21,360.
Affordable.
Wow.
Yes. I shopped around.
All right.
Okay. Chapman Hyundai down on McDowell.
Can I get it for 18?
Oh, be careful,
Boy,
man. This is not prices, right? What do you-
Probably not.
Okay.
But you can probably get it for 19.
All right, 19's not bad.
Yeah. And the best thing about Chapman Hyundai down there is, right away, if you can't afford that 20 or 21 grand,
Right.
they have a tremendous selection of used cars
All right.
that price in
Well,
cheaper.
just to add real quick before we bring Greg Buckley, remember on Facebook, we are going to start the video each week of that car.
Yes.
On
Okay.
Ranch Nation Facebook.
Very cool.
We thought that'd be cool to do a
Yeah.
little walk around. Greg Buckley's in house.
Hello, Mr. Buckley. How are you?
All right, gentlemen. How's everybody tonight?
Good. Our blue hen of Delaware.
Yeah, baby.
Getting warmer out there, isn't it?
It is. It was like 78 degrees out this way today.
Yeah,
So
we
we're
got
almost
the cold
kinda
weather.
catching up with you.
We got the cold weather. We're 58, so there you go.
Hey, did you catch
we
you
beat
catch
it.
the interview of that 2017 Funny Car champ Robert Hight out of that AAA
Yeah.
Southern California
World
Auto
record.
Club car?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's one thing. The NHRA, man, it's a passionate movement. You've been to the track. Come on, tell us your
Yes.
experience. Did you
Oh, yeah.
did you break an
my
ankle or
dad
something?
My dad was a heavy racer, stock car racer. In the 60s, well, actually through 50s through the 70s, early 72. And we had a fabulous crew called the Bucks Boys.
Oh, there you go.
We
That's the thing
we were-
with Buck. Hey, Greg, I got to just say something. We got a little time. Buckley, Mr. Buckley, a generationally owned automotive service community-minded center in Wilmington, Delaware. Man, you guys all have nicknames. We struggle with nicknames.
Yeah.
Like the Buck. What did you just say? The Buck Boys.
Bucks Boys. Bucks Boys.
Bucks.
That was the crew chief. That was the crew.
So
Bucks Boys.
Dad designed the Buck Boys.
Yep, exactly.
Was
exactly.
he?
And
What
that's
was his
it
look? Paint the picture. He was this in the 70s? What was he look? Did he have roll-up jeans and a nice?
Well, I tell you what, Frank, my dad would have been, I mean, when you talk about a Hollywood-looking guy, this guy had the looks. And, he still does. For 78 years old, he's still a handsome man. I got to give him props.
Well, I'm going to
for it.
tell you something. I'm leading you up to something, my friend, because I know what your dad looks like. And more importantly, I know what kind of man he is. Hey, can we ever get Dad on the show?
I would love to get Dad on the show. He's got so much history behind him. And
Well, I'd
one of the
like to
things
do
I always
that.
wanted to do is, okay.
I
I'll
think
try
our
to make that happen.
family, our people listening would love to maybe throw it back and we can legitimately not read it off a paper back in time, but actually talk to, man, an old school, just award-winning ranch from back in the day.
Yeah.
So let's plant the seed. I'd love to have
All right,
Pops
that
on,
sounds
man.
good, man, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I got to say that what the name of the car was Bad to Death, and it was an awesome Boss 302 that we took every Z. We took down every Z that came our way. We really did.
Ooh, you got. Wally just got it. He just took his shirt off. He's getting hot in here. You just got him excited.
Yes, we had a 302. We had a brief period where we ran a 429 Boss. We also had a 428 Super Cobra jet that we transplanted from 56 Ford wagons to 57 Fairlanes, and we had a lot of fun with it. When you talk about living, with a motorhead, my dad was always trying to get the next second. And we were there at the beginning. What was neat about the East Coast is a lot of your East Coast racers who kind of initiate everything. You talked about Daddy Don Garlitz. Well,
oh, wait a minute.
there's
We got
a real-
we got Southern California peeps listening right now. They're going to contend with
you.
you.
Can talk about all you want. but
I don't
man,
know.
we
East
got-
Coast,
we
West
got-
Coast thing here.
Look, I know you got Connie Kalitta and you got all those champs coming out. I'm not saying anything, but I got to bring a little East Coast swag with me.
All right,
when I'm
bring it.
talking out here. You know what I mean? So,
Bob
you got
Tasca.
the real-
Oh, Bob
Tasca.
Tasca. Hey, Greg, we met with the Tasca family.
Yes.
Okay.
And
we had Gartlitz and we had Bill Grumpy Jenkins. And all
I have a
these guys
picture
from
of me with Bill Grumpy Jenkins when I was 12 years old.
Man, we got some
There you
people
go,
listening right now. It's like, oh, look at these fools talking about their past.
The funniest story, we were at the shop, right? And here comes Don Gartlitz. And no lie, he comes up, and he's coming in, and he goes, my dad recognizes him right away. He goes, what, Mr. Gartlitz, what's going on? He goes, I'm here to see the doctor. Well, we had no idea, but our family doctor, old Dr. Baker, right across from the street from the shop was Gartlett's doctor. We had no idea. So what's Gartlitz do? He gets in conversation with Dad. Wouldn't you know, he pulls the rail up, right? He takes it out of the trailer, pulls the rail up. We have this big show going on. Now we've got tons of people. He fires it up. He plays around with us. We had an afternoon of Gartlett's rail on the shop lot. And it turned into one big party, all because Gartlitz needed a place to park while he went to the doctors across the street.
My goodness, the Buckley dynasty, the legendary history of the Buckley family.
Hey, I want to hear that story from Dad. I think the people listening want Dad's story. You think we can get Dad on?
I'll definitely get Dad on. I would love to.
Hey, brother, we love you every week. If you guys are out in Wilmington, Delaware, check out Buckley's Auto Care. Just amazing in the community. And we appreciate you as an official show contributor, although we don't have a helicopter for you yet.
Not yet. All right, guys. Hey, man, a pleasure.
Thanks, Buckley. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, man. See you.
The Wrench Nation wild and wacky news on wheels.
All right, something here in Arizona. We have no clue. We're spoiled when it gets to about 35, 40. Boy, we just don't know how to deal with that kind of weather. But I tell you, the pothole season hit it really hard back east, and especially in Detroit. Money's kind of tight still in Detroit. There are potholes galore. Well, what people are doing is they're taking a little sand, whatever they got, and they are actually going out to their streets, taking the potholes in their own hands and fixing them. So if you got a problem, start with you and fix it, people. That's the solution. Find the problem, fix it.
I used to always go and fix our gravel road when I lived out in the country in North
Dakota. Just go out. What are you waiting for?
As a kid, I would just take some shovels, and I actually probably screwed up worse.
But I said, there's your weird automotive news.
All right, that's Wrench Nation for this week. Of course, 2 hours every Wednesday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here in Arizona and everywhere else around the country. And on the podcast, of course, uploaded on Sundays.
Yeah, every Sunday, people, if you may have caught the show mid-season in this thing here, get on iTunes every Sunday. Really important to us. Give us your show topic comments. Let us know what you think of the show. And a big deal, people, Wrench Nation, Facebook. Get over there. We just talked about Wally Cahill. We're going to show you video, couple minutes. We're not going to go crazy, the new car review. So go check out Wrench Nation Facebook. Every week, we love you, people. Thanks for hanging. Be safe. Hug each other. And never forget to hug a mechanic.